Hi, how are you today? Just check I've got my mic on. So, I want to talk today about finding your creative sweet spot. I hope you all had a great Easter. I had a really invigorating Easter in the sense that I started to feel the real sense of what the Easter celebration really is in terms of my spiritual growth and my journey. And I was raised, probably haven't told you this before, but I was raised a Roman Catholic. And when my father was younger, he was trained to be a priest. I'm talking about Sicily in the 1940s. And he was in the monastery for a while. So luckily he didn't become a priest because I wouldn't have been here otherwise. I would have come through in a different form, in a different place. But so the Catholic faith, he kind of, something must have happened, I think, in the monasteries or something, because he kind of cut it off, and he, didn't go to, like, I didn't have to go to church or anything on Sundays. We didn't go as a family. We celebrated the big occasions, but there was something around religion that was unsaid. And my mother kind of, in terms of her practice, she was raised Catholic as well, but she dabbled in the spiritual arts in her own way. And she also was visited, had visions that led her to a Mormon church. So I think my mother's kind of more psychic in her ability to see faith related to psychic abilities. Now I'm getting to the topic today, which is your creative, how to find your creative sweet spot. But understanding your own family history and your own relationship with spirituality and passion and creativity is, all part of it. And that's something that I think is really interrelated. Is your psyche, your spirituality, and your creativity. I think it's really all tied in together. It's a part of that web, that network of working together. So, whatever area or way you were raised in terms of spirituality or a rejection of spirituality helps you to form your own understanding of your own intuition and your own belief system and values. So, back to the story of my parents. So, religion was never really pushed upon us. I wasn't indoctrinated with things from the Bible or anything. And the interesting thing was that they did send me to Catholic schools. So I was a Catholic school girl here in Melbourne. And I went to a Catholic primary school and then a Catholic secondary school, and I had all my initiations, for example, communion and confirmation and all of those initiations that are part of the Catholic faith. So when I was at school, it was the first time that I was in contact with the Bible, and I was quite excited because I love stories and I love storytelling. So it was interesting to hear the stories of faith, of the New Testament, the Old Testament. And I had an interesting relationship with my religious teachers because I guess I was sort of at that young age starving for spirituality and finding my own purpose and understanding my own spirituality. So I would ask a lot of questions in class, and a lot of the questions that I asked without even knowing were quite provocative. And the teachers who weren't, I just happened to get teachers who weren't nuns. We had nuns at the school, but they did things like choir and etiquette, decorum. Like, I was taught decorum, believe it or not, by the nuns. But in terms of the religious classes, they were teachers, and so they had their own faith and spirituality. But I guess a lot of the questions that I raised while we were in Bible studies or religious studies, they couldn't answer. And I remember getting kicked out of religious classes. Can you imagine that? Getting kicked out of religion. So I'd end up at the coordinator's office crying because I didn't understand why I wasn't allowed to ask all these questions. And they saw it as questioning my faith, but I saw it as trying to find my faith. So that left me really disheartened, but I still held on to the Bible. And the reason why I'm telling you this story, I guess, is because over Easter I went back to the Bible. I haven't picked it up for a while. I had to find it in a box and dust it off. It's on my shelf now, but I found some. I just opened it up and I thought about Jesus, because I thought that regardless of the name and the label and your own faith, well, I personally believe that there was a Messiah, there was a spiritual being that may have gone by the name of Jesus, but who came to teach love and compassion, which is my values and my core, and what I believe is love and compassion regardless of the religion. You know, I'm not tied to any one religion, and I have studied a lot of other religions, and so I went back to the Bible because I was thinking about Jesus and the idea of somebody dying for us, sacrificing himself for our sins, is really something selfless and giving. And how much of service is that to us, or to the Catholic people, or to the religious people who believe that? So in diving into the Bible, you won't believe what happened. I started to awaken the essence of creativity, joining with spirituality quite deeply. And you know, in this group, Creative Intuitive, you know, I did start it because I knew there was a link. I knew there was a link with spirituality, your intuition, your psychic abilities, and your passion for creativity, that energy. And it started to ignite an open perception about how to actually contact that for yourself, in your passion, what you're passionate about. And believe it or not, if you do read the Bible, it was in Revelations that I started to see, which is part of the New Testament, if you're not familiar with it. I started to see in Revelations, for some reason, the correlation between who we are and our purpose, because a lot of people, even in this group, are looking for their purpose. They know they want to be of service in some way. They know they love to help, and it's not only satisfying, it's a calling. It's something deeper than a gratification. And I'm a part of that journey as well. So my part of that journey has got something to do with art. And I've always known that, but I didn't quite know. You know, for a while there I separated spirituality and art, and then starting to bring it together, I didn't quite know how to piece it. So the revelation, the thought that came to me over the Easter weekend, was go back. Or I kind of, it's not really a thought, it was more like a download. Go back to your childhood memories. Go back to your childhood memories, because they hold the answer to your passion. What was it that you were passionate about as a child? What was it that you did freely? When was it that you lost concept of time, space, where there was no concept of good and bad, right and wrong? Where you entered worlds that weren't from this realm? Where you had memories of past lives? Where you were with friends that were unseen by others? You know, like you think about some children and they have imaginary friends. You know, and who's to say that they're not real? For them, at least. My brother had one. And at the dinner table one time, my mother was the last to sit down as she served everybody. And my brother, I think, he's older than me, so I heard this story. And he was about 4. And he was eating, and he just started crying when my mother sat down. My mother sat down and he started crying. And she said, "Why are you crying? What's wrong with you? Is something wrong with your food? What's the matter?" And he said, "No, you sat on my friend." So he had an imaginary friend. So she had to get up and leave the space for his friend, which she did, which was really good, rather than ridiculing him and saying, "Oh, there's no such thing," and kind of breaking that. But just that there are other angels and beings that may dwell with us, and they may have the wisdom of giving us the messages that we need to hear. So that in the childhood memory, if you go back now to or in your meditation, or when you're in a quiet space, go back to the things that you did naturally, that you did effortlessly, that you did whimsically, playfully, that you did easily, that came naturally to you. Go back to those things. And once you do, go back even further. Go back even younger. Go back even younger, because they hold the keys to awakening you as an adult woman now, to awakening your true passion, the true essence. If you're looking for your purpose, it's in there. The answers have always been there. And this is the message I got downloaded from Easter. Sometimes when I'm writing in my journal, I get the pen just goes and I just follow. So I guess it's sort of like automatic writing or channeling or whatever you want to call it. But I started writing that, and I think there's a little bit here that I wrote. Remember your childhood dreams where there was no space, no time. So sometimes this can be a bit hard to read because I just follow, and sometimes I can't even read my own writing. There was no timeline, no recording. There was only that moment. Why did you stop living like that? It's time to unlearn what you have learned about your passions and dreams and live in the now as not for us. It's not for us. It's for you and your happiness. Forget about us. Forget about pleasing others. The vibration of creation is not bound by concepts of time. There is no time, only the truth. There is work to be done in this universe, and all the creative people are being summoned to come forward to channel and heal the pain of this wounded world. Can you hear the millions of crying and wailings? They are also in you. You can hear them too. Are you listening? So it felt like a real call, a real urgent call actually for us creative beings to start using the happiness that we feel in our creativity and start channeling that into the happiness that the universe is crying out for. You know, with everything that's happening in the world, it's easy to want to, as an intuitive and as an empath, it's easy to want to run away and create your own little world. And I did that for a long time, created my own little universe where there was no pain, there was only happiness. So it feels like to me that we're being called now to summon up our courage to share those passionate worlds and paradises that we can create as creative people. We have access to that, and that comes with us as a gift, and we're being summoned to channel that forward. So whatever it is that you're passionate about, that holds the answer to finding your sweet spot, and that sweet spot is that happiness that you feel when you are creating and when you are passionate. So it's just a beautiful thing. Like, I just want to turn off this video now and continue painting. You know, just to share that. And there is quite an urgency in me to finish my tarot cards that I'm painting, that I'm creating. So I'm just going to follow whatever the message that is coming out from the paintings that I do. Because when I paint, I sort of start with an idea that's an inspiration, like it's an inspired idea. And then the painting starts, and then it's almost like it's being channeled, and I see through the paint the things that just want to start coming out. And I do a lot of blessings and I do a lot of meditation before, so that I know that my channel is clear and that it's not about my ego or look how beautiful this painting is. It's more about what is it that needs to come through with this piece right now. What is the message? And it's always about teaching. And you know, the essence of that teaching is all about love and kindness. Really, it is. It's about practicing being loving and kind to yourself and to others. Now, with our self-love challenge, a lot of you, including me, we were practicing love and kindness to ourselves. And now I think it's time to open that teaching up that we all received in the challenge to love and kindness to others, and let us start with the people around us who we really love, and hate sometimes, but to transform that through our creativity, to practice how to genuinely be loved, not just the idea and saying that we love others, but showing it. There's a speed now in our psyche, I feel, to move forward at a quicker pace with what we know we're supposed to do. There's a bit here. It's much more subtle than you think. This is still the channeling that's coming through. It's much more subtle than you think. It's smaller than you think what we have to do. Because sometimes when I get channeled and it's sort of, it makes me think, and so sometimes I can ask questions, and I was asking, what is it that we can do? And it's not a lot that we have to do. It's just getting back into our passion and creativity from that energy of happiness, and to be of service and to give that part of yourself, because it's not about you, it's about what the universe needs for us to do what, and really that's our purpose, and it's much more subtle than we think. It's not a grand big thing, it's not something huge that we have to do, but it's in the subtleties that you'll find your sweet spot. So I hope that you got something out of that, and share with me what you did get out of it. I'd love to know what resonated with you, and if you agree, just say yes. If you don't know what to comment, just say yes. Yes, I feel that, or yes, I agree, and share with me what you're doing that's creative, and share with me also what memories came up for you when you were a child. What is it that you loved to do? All right, I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed creating it and making it for us. And I'm very excited. I'm going to go and start on my painting now. So until tomorrow, when we'll do some oracle readings, and I can do some live readings for you then as well. Okay then, bye.